Well, hello there.
Hello.
How are you doing today, Danny?
I'm good.
Let me pull up the screen here. I apologize for a little bit of mess in the background. Mama Fox, some of y'all saw it possibly yesterday on my stream. Um, Mama Fox was staying at my apartment for the past week, so I had to move some stuff from the living room into the bedroom, and I haven't had a chance to move it back yet. She left this morning to go back home. So yeah. Uh, uh, since we actually have time to like hang out for a little bit, Danny, because the past couple of trials of casuals, I'm not gonna lie, they've all been on my end. It's because I'm a head ass, and I was like, let's do them Friday nights. Forgetting that when I come home Friday night, uh, I'm like a fucking paperweight, absolutely goddamn useless.
Mm.
Yeah, self-deprecating humor. Um, but God, I mean, this is the first Trials of Casuals stream in how long now?
It's been a little bit.
It's been a bop. It's good to be back though. I kind of want to come back and start doing these again. And surprisingly enough, actually, that may be a reality, Danny. So for those of you in chat who have not been following me for the past couple of weeks or so, there have been a lot of major events that happened. For those of you that have been watching on YouTube, y'all know. And for those of you that are in my Discord, you know. But recently, I hurt my back and I was out of work for a couple days. And then my whole shop got hit with a huge ball, which was they cut our operation hours to Friday and Saturday. With that happening, our boss was like, "Hey, if you guys need to find work during the weekdays, please do. And when we do go back to regular operating hours, we will do our best to try and accommodate you for the hours that are given." And one of the things that I'm working on is getting a daytime job during the week, which will allow us on Thursday afternoons slash Thursday night to actually do the Trials of Casuals podcast again. And actually on the day of the fucking TWAB. So it's not like useless information the next 2 days afterwards. Fuck, why did I think that was a good idea?
I
Why didn't you stop me, Danny? Why didn't you? You're the smarter one here.
mean, usually it's good for a while, at least till like the next week's.
I mean, we did it on Tuesday, and then a new TWAB would come out on Thursday.
Yeah.
Like, God fucking damn it. So, hopefully, that will be changing again. Like I said, hopefully I will be getting a job during the daytime during regular human hours. Gross. Um, to where I can actually do the Trials of Casual podcast stream on Thursday afternoons after work. Now, again, Danny, I know that you've got your schedule stream, and I want to try and work and accommodate around that. So, over the next couple weeks, hopefully, we will figure out a specific time where it'll both work for you and me to do the stream. Because I don't know about you, but I enjoy doing these podcasts.
Yeah.
So we will be working on that. With that being said, Danny, uh, overall, how have you been? And I don't know, I don't really didn't really get it like a super hard chance to talk to you after the New Year, but how was your New Year's?
It's been pretty relaxing for the most part.
Anything crazy, anything special, anything new?
Uh Slowly assembling the parts for the desktop. That's about it.
True, I feel that. You did not come out with a schedule yet this week.
Nope. That's coming up later today.
Okay. Uh, I guess I can technically talk about the schedule. Do you have anything planned special this week? Or are you going through the normal stuff, playing some FASO? What was on your schedule last week? Uh, what the fuck is Moe Mon Blaze?
It's a ROM hack of Pokemon Black 2 that the difficulty's been cranked up past like 13.
Oh, is that like Emerald Kaiso?
It's a Drano hack, so yes, it's very fucking hard.
Gotcha. Okay, I've genuinely thought about doing one of those ROM hacks at some point.
They're good.
However, we all know that my brain is the size of a fucking quarter. So I would lose in a Nuzlocke immediately.
Oh yeah, no, these we have not been doing Nuzlocks because that would be actual torture. It's like just put it this way, all of the gyms basically have perfect IV Pokemon.
Yeah, and they also have Pokemon that fill out their actual roster. I remember watching. Do you watch any of the Pokemon streamers slash YouTubers?
It's been a little bit.
Okay, because one that I follow, or at least I watch on a regular basis, two of them. One of them being Pokemon Challenges, who is basically like he does Nuzlocks for a living on YouTube. And Wolfie VGC, who is a competitive Pokemon player, who is a world champion. I think he's a two-time world champion. I could be wrong though. And they've both done playthroughs of Emerald Kaiso. And it's really interesting because both of them have crazy, insane strats that are completely different,
Oh yeah.
which I think is great. Because Pokemon Challenges does it based on how the AI, so all of his like teams and gimmicks and shit are all built around how the AI works, whereas Wolfie plays on a competitive level. So he plays as if the Pokemon was if the trainer was a competitive player and what the proper move set would be. So it's really cool seeing their two schools of thought. But no, I couldn't do it. I could not fucking do it.
A lot of info to keep track of.
It's so much fucking info to keep track of. Um, but I mean, that's just the first thing that I saw from your last week's schedule. Anything you have planned special this week?
I'm gonna be playing some Monster Hunter Rise. Now that's on Game Pass.
Some what?
Monster Hunter Rise.
Oh, wait, is that on Game Pass?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, fuck.
It's on
That's
Game Pass.
I was about to say that's like no, hold on. Does that include their winter DLC? Like that
I
major
do not.
DLC that came out afterwards?
I don't know if they're on the same like release path because I know because the staggered releases usually the DLC is like a year or so ahead. It's kind of weird. It's the same thing that happened with World, where it came out on one platform first and then everywhere else later. It was weird.
Oh, that's right, because it dropped on PlayStation first, didn't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
I
because
think
Sony actually has the proper rights to Monster Hunter, I think, right?
it's weird. Capcom is very odd with it because it goes back and like most of them are on Nintendo.
This is also true, yeah. I mean, if you go back to all the old school Monster Hunters, then yeah, 100%. They were all on. Well, hold on, let me see. There was. I don't remember there being a one for the N64. There was one for the GameCube, right?
Most of them are on the DS. I think there is one, maybe two on the GameCube.
Yeah, and then a bunch of them came because I think the ones on the GameCube were like the first ones to come out, and then they came out with the ones on the DS.
Yeah.
Um, and then the major one after that was Monster Hunter World, which dropped.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that dropped while I was in college.
Yeah, World was the first one that was available very easily in the West.
Yeah. I. I'm gonna be honest here, Danny. I don't know how you can play so many games that require you to grind 24/7, 365. I can't fucking do it. I can
So
barely keep
many,
track of fucking WoW and D2.
so many of the games that I play are just grind fests or um, roguelikes.
I don't know how you do it. Like it blows my fucking mind because I'm an ape when it comes to that shit. Like so my philosophy for those games is I just go unga boonga and just find the biggest whatever weapon it is and just go smack them and just pray to God. Um, I don't know. I mean, like I said, like I play D2 and World of Warcraft, and World of Warcraft is more like a personal game rather than like a streaming game, and those are already big enough grinds for me as it is compared to like the rest of the games that I have. I don't know how you play so many of them at once.
I honestly just kind of like focus on one at a time and then just bounce around depending on mood.
Fair, fair. Though I did see though, last night apparently that you went absolutely fucking bonkers on D2,
Did
from your Twitter posts.
I took two people that I'm pretty close friends with through prophecy for the first time, did not explain anything, and we did it in an hour and 22 minutes.
For a first run of Prophecy with two rookies,
Yep.
that's pretty impressive. Prophecy is not a fun dungeon if you're a rookie.
And then I took another one. Well, and I took one of the two because the other one had to go to sleep. I took the other one through Pit, and we did that in 58 minutes afterwards.
That's not bad.
And the ogres borked out and did not despawn for Totem Room. So they were there the entire Totem Room.
Oh, through the cavern maze?
Yep, they did not despawn. So they were there shooting us on the plate the entire time.
Oh, that feels bad. That feels bad. Oh my god. That's fucking hysterical. But Jesus Christ. Oh man. Whew. Alright, well, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to hop into the TWAB. You ready?
Yeah, this one's a spicy one.
Yeah, I've heard a lot from you guys about how spicy it is. So here we go. Also, I know that I'm recording this for YouTube, but Pitt is here in chat saying hi, and telling me that I stink. It's nothing new. So let's just quickly go over. So this is all of the stuff that happened in, that's happening in this TWAB, I believe, right here, right? They're just they're just going over this. So Grandmaster changes, including power level. We saw that last week. We covered that last week. How they're lowering the cap? They're lowering the overall cap to enter Grandmaster, so more people can enter Grandmaster. The Iron Banner update after week 1 with Fortress, which was the new game mode, which is basically Capture the Hill with Cabal turrets. We got Oprah Winfrey with armor mods. All armor mods in the current set are all unlocked, available for everyone to use. Focusing costs were basically cut to like a third of what they were, which is fucking insane.
Oh yeah.
They took a look at the doggo, emo, or the doggo from the new recent season, and how they animated it, and they did a Bungie store update, which, if I'm gonna be honest, is not really that important. It's just like merch. But now that we've gone over that, really nice. And I love that they made a big old special section here to remind people to stop being fucking, cheaters. Which I think is great. So, and first thing that we're going to get up to see is Get In Guardian. We're going to Neo Muna. Lightfall drops in February. What day on February again?
28.
Yeah, so just a little over a month from now, we're going to get to see Lightfall, and get yet another, I shouldn't say yet another, we're getting another legendary campaign, which I know that both you and I are very excited about. I
Yeah.
think they killed it in Witch Queen, and I think they'll kill it here in Lightfall. Bob the Guardian Builder and the evolution of build crafting. So they're doing a lot of changes to build crafting here, and there's a lot of stuff. So you know what, Danny? I'm gonna allow you to take this one to TLDR this bitch, cause there's a lot of shit here.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna go over the points that they've highlighted here. Loadouts and mod customization. Yes, that's coming Lightfall Day 1. In-game loadouts. They're also changing mods significantly. Case in point, one of the things that I called when we were talking about mods. They're removing the elemental affinity for mods. That's pretty awesome. When they're talking about consolidating here, they really mean it. Charged with Light and Elemental Well mods will no longer be separate mods. They are going to be combined into Charged Armor mods. So they're going to mix and match.
Wait, charge isn't charged with light?
It's sort of. They're replacing the Wells and the Charged with Light and just fusing them together. They're also saying goodbye to Warmind cells because they have been antiquated. So bye-bye Warmind cell builds. They're going
Really?
away in
They're
Lightfall.
actually full on getting rid of Warmind cells.
Yep.
Then there is no point to the 7th Serath weapons.
There might be.
Well, oh, my bad. Ikelos.
Yep.
The Ikelos weapons. Because that was mostly what they were used for, was the Warmind cells. And, I mean, I think other than probably the linear fusion, I think, the rest of the Ikelos, well, okay, I take that back. The Ikelos hand cannon does kind of go hard. I'm not going to deny that.
When they brought the SMG back and gave it Volt Shot, oh god.
Okay, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, the Ikelos
Yeah,
SMG.
Volt Shot.
Yeah, I forgot that thing I forgot that existed. So that's a little wild.
Another thing they're doing is, the extra little menu that they added for armor customization and transmog.
Yeah, where it goes and you can do all the little shaders per one, and it just makes it a little bit more cleaner because they made a separate tab for it in the drop down.
They're doing that for mods.
Oh.
So you can access all of your armor and weapon mods from one part of the menu instead of having to bounce around to each individual part.
That actually is so much nicer because that way you can actually actively see every single mod without having to hover over it.
Yep. And they said that the loadouts will, in the current iteration, will have all of your mods and your armor. It can't really do the ghosts and sparrows and ships and stuff yet, but they are working on that.
I mean, that's fair, and here's my thing. I feel like, at least for the most part, I don't think that the ghosts and sparrows are that important. And here's why. The sparrows, you normally have one of two sparrows. You either have a reload while you're riding, or you are less likely to be targeted.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's really no reason to have another sparrow other than those. Like, yeah, I have 10 sparrows. Technically, I have 9 spare sparrows. 10 if you include the one that's currently equipped.
Yeah.
But, like, let's be honest. I don't run a sparrow unless it has either full reload while you're riding it, or less likely to be targeted. So that's why I don't think sparrows are that important. And I feel like ghost mods are... I feel like you really only run, like, a specific handful. Like, for example, you only run one, like a ghost mod for specific gear stats. So, like, on my ghost, I've got 2 major ghosts. I've got one for strikes and, like, glimmers slash bonus XP based on where I'm at in the season, and then the other one being a ghost that basically only has gear up. So, like, mine's always got intellect mod on it because I always want most intellect because warlocks are kind of dependent on it. So I feel like ghosts aren't necessarily that important. They're like
Yeah.
bonuses, so I can
It's like
understand why that's the case.
beginning of a season, you're just gonna have the XP mod on the ghost, and that's not leaving until you finish the season pass usually.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and once you finish the season pass, you're done. Like, there's no reason to do it otherwise.
Yep.
Now there is something that I do want to look at. How build crafting is changing for match game.
Yep.
Can you go into
So
detail about that?
one of the things they mentioned in a little blurb is they're changing match game. Match game is now going to instead be where it currently is, it's going to be more along the lines of shields in Gambit. So they're not going to be as tough to break, and weapons that do not match the elemental type of the shield are going to do half damage to the shield instead of significantly less. So match game, it's being removed from a lot of end game content, which is awesome,
It's
but
really good
it's being toned
because
down.
I mean I'm gonna be honest. It locked you into having to use specific weapons.
And the other thing about this that's really going to change the way in game works is up here where they mention champions, new ways to counter champions, including via subclass. They're putting in anti champion abilities in subclasses.
That's really nice.
Volatile rounds, for instance, will be anti barrier.
You know, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like that doesn't make a lot of sense. I feel like it should be overload because it suppresses you.
That suppression is overload. Volatile's anti barrier, and I'm trying to remember what the other one is.
Yeah, because volatile is void, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each subclass is going to have one aspect that will deal with all of the champions. So you will have a way with each of the subclasses to deal with the champions. And that
Okay,
doesn't
so
just
but
apply
they'll
to
get like
subclasses.
one way to deal, right? So like void
Yep.
will get you said barrier?
So like Void has an anti-barrier, Solar, Arc, Stasis, and Strand. All of them are going to have like their own way of dealing with champions, which is good. Because you're not just locked to weapons to dealing with champions.
That's fair, and I think that's really good overall. Just because, I'm gonna be honest, I hate the fact that I have to fucking run specific guns to deal with goddamn champions. Like, bro, I don't know how many times I can run a pulse rifle before I'm like, bro, pulse rifles are still trashed here.
Yep. And the other thing, the subclass 3.0 verbiage that applies to weapons will also work on champions.
That is really nice to know.
So Chill Clip is probably going to become a very strong perk on weapons real soon.
And there's a lot of weapons that have dropped with chill. Ow, holy shit! There's a lot of weapons that have dropped with chill clip.
Yeah,
Hold on?
it's
What's the
gonna
hand
be
cannon that
fun.
got chill clip?
I I want to say it's Aya's Luna from Grasp.
Yeah, I have a very close to god roll Aya's Luna.
Like
Uh,
Headstone's going to be good as well for creating the crystals.
yes, Headstone's gonna be good. Oh my god, hold on, what's the LMG that has Headstone?
I know which one you're talking about.
I'm
That
trying to
those
remember
will
what the
be
fuck it
good.
is, cause that's about to pop off. Cause that's a
Anything with
lot of
bolt
fucking
shot,
round. That
like
that
bolt
magazine's got
shot
like 100
stronger.
bullets in it.
Yep, because like all of those that cause things that are involved in like subclass 3.0 are basically getting straight buffed in Lightfall. Which there's a lot of weapons that are going to be very nice. And there's another thing that goes along with this that they mentioned in a tweet. Starting in Lightfall, the artifact, you're going to go back to only being able to use like 12 of the artifact mods at a time. But you don't have to equip them on armor.
Oh, they're just gonna be just bonuses as you unlock them.
The artifacts, the 12 that you have selected on the artifact will be passive bonuses throughout the season.
That makes, in my opinion, I think that makes a lot of sense because of how they're reworking all of the mods. Because they're going to be condensing mods, adding mods, removing mods. It just makes it so much easier to just have them as a passive. And I feel like I feel like it's also going to be. You know what I'd really like to see, Danny? Is, do you remember in like the Call of Duty days, Modern Warfare 2, when you were picking your perks, you could just like, yeah, and specifically, I think it was, which one was it? I think it was Ghosts, where you just had like these like 6 rows, and you could just, and you had a set amount of points, and you could just click, 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 and pick all of the ones that you wanted, and it would just lock you out of the rest of them once you did it.
Yep.
And I feel like if you just click one and undo it, instead of having, because the biggest problem that I had with the artifact was having to respec it. Number one, it costed Glimmer, which is kind of obnoxious, but it is what it is. And then you had to redo all of them. I would like to have them just be able to just, if you click it once, it puts it on, and if you click it again, it takes it off. That way you could just do them one at a time and be like, you know what? This is the combination I want. Or if you accidentally misclick, you don't have to completely respec all over again.
Yep.
That is something that I would very much like to see, and I'm really hoping that they do that. Because I think that'll be very, very good.
They are removing the Glimmer cost for resetting the artifact mods, so...
Yes! Let's go!
Since they're moving to that system where you can only have 12 active at a time, they're like, you know what, the Glimmer cost doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
And you know what? I'm fine with that. I think that makes so much more sense. And I still think it would be fine that you have to have a specific amount of mods in each column before you can move to the next one. I'm kind of okay with that system just because it's been implemented for so long and most of the player base understands and knows how it works, and they're just like, all right, like, I only just need to pick the necessities to move on and go from there.
Yep.
So if they're going to keep that method, I'm fine with that. Is there...
And I noticed that they briefly mentioned that elemental wells are changing and stuff like that, but that's about it. That's the highlights for the initial TLDR. There's another one later because there's a lot of verbiage that is kind of like...
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's probably going to be next week or the week... Or, yeah, because it'll probably be next week, which will be the first week of February. Well, because there'll be this week's, and then next week's will be the first one of February's, and I think the first one of February is going to be the super, super, super big one, because that's the one that's going to be like, all right, you have 2 weeks to get your shit together before the new season drops.
Basically what it's going to be.
I have a feeling that it's going to be... I know we're going to get a lot of shit this week when it comes out, because, again, apologize, we're recording this late, because that's my fault, because I'm stupid. But I think the first one of February is going to be the 2-week warning of, get your shit done now.
Yep.
For Lightfall. Get it done now. Prep your shit now.
Like, you better get it done now, because, do not have the time.
Yeah, you will not have time to do it in Lightfall. Anything else we need to cover over this section?
On this section, I think that's about it.
Alright, then we're going to move on. Rumble returns, catalysts are a-changin', an exotic glaive goodness, and more. So, we're going to quickly just kind of go over this. Red Border drop rates on January 18th, which was last week. A change went live in-game that makes it easier for players to get the red borders they crave in all raids with craftable weapons and in the Duality Dungeon. Stay tuned for additional information about weapon crafting changes and Lightfall in the coming weeks. We thought this was great. You got the chance to actually craft your fucking raid weapons more, since you can only really do the raids once a week anyways, because there's no point to do them multiple times. So that's nice. Faster Dredgen title guild. Oh my god. Rather than
Yes.
requiring 30 Gambit wins to guild the Dredgen title, we are changing it to 50 match completions with bonus credit for wins. At a minimum, this reduces the number of wins needed by 5, and most players will require significantly fewer to get where they are trying to be. Title Town. That's nice. Didn't know that.
It changed. The next one though is the hype change.
Yes. Once you hit the soft cap, blue engrams will stop dropping. Woo! This is what we've been waiting for! Yeah, baby! God damn!
Paul Tassi was very happy.
Mmm.
The blues are no more at soft cap.
And on top of that, we're also adjusting all other gunsmith reputations by plus 25% to compensate for removing gunsmith reputation from dismantling blue gear.
That also fixed a glitch that's been in the game for a long time where you could just acquire blue gear from your collections and dismantle them for free gunsmith rep at like no cost, basically.
Yeah.
So that's gone.
I mean, but
Finally.
still, though, I'm fine with this. As the Hulk once said, I see this as an absolute win. Like this is huge. Like you will no longer be bothered by dog shit blues once you hit the soft cap. Because here's the thing: in Lightfall, once you hit the soft cap, getting to the hard cap, which is normally 10 levels higher, not that difficult.
Nope.
It's really
just
not.
pinnacles.
It's
That's
literally
all
like,
it is.
yeah, it's like play for 2 weeks, you have your gear.
Which, like, right now, there's so many different pinnacle options because you've got 2 or 3 in the Vanguard playlist. You've got 1 in Gambit. You've got, like, 1 in Crucible, 2 if you play Trials.
Yeah, well, actually, no, you technically get 3 because you get, because you've got, well, hold on, 4. You get 4 in Crucible because you get 1 in base matchmaking. You get 1 for 3v3 competitive. You get 1 for Iron Banner, and you get 1 for, and you get 1 or 2 for Trials.
The competitive one counts for the same as quick play.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
That's right, because they changed that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like initially when it launches, you'll have the Nightfall one. You'll have
the
regular
weekly
Strike
dungeon
one.
and raid.
Yep. Then you'll have the 3 matches of Gambit, 3 Crucible matches. When Trials pops up, you'll have the 50 points. Iron Banner will be every challenge. So I think it's like 20 games total for 4 or 5 pinnacle drops.
That actually makes it worth doing Iron Banner now.
And they're upping the rep drops after the first Iron Banner from this season, so hopefully they keep that up for Lightfall, because if you actually have a full set of gear plus the emblem, the more challenges you complete, the higher your rep gains were, and by the end of the last Iron Banner, I was earning 11 times reputation.
That's fucking insane.
It's pretty good.
So yeah, that's pretty big. They're bringing Rumble back to the Crucible as a permanent fixture.
Yeah.
That makes
understandable.
Makes me very happy. I think Rumble, because Rumble is the 1v1, is the free-for-all,
yep.
Right? Yeah.
Rumble was free-for-all.
And I think a lot of players really enjoyed it as that, because you had to wait, like, what? A month and a half for Rumble to come back, because let's be real, how many fucking game modes do they have for fucking Crucible? Like, they've got so many, and they didn't really have a good 1v1 system for it.
Yep.
So I'm okay with this change. For some PvP players, especially the solo dolo players who normally play Rumble, I think that's a great change, and I think it's pretty god.
And for the people that don't really like PvP in general, you can just play Rumble and get them out of the way really quickly.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Year 3 Catalyst evolution. The Catalyst quests for the Year 3 Season Pass exotics, Ariana's Vow, Symmetry, Tommy's Matchbook, and Witherhoard will now benefit from these season pass boosts like other exotic catalyst quests. Additionally, any seasonal ritual playlist activity will count toward ritual progress for all season pass exotic catalyst quests. That's really interesting.
It's a pretty good change.
Yeah. Though to be fair, I really only use one. Um, if y'all are watching this on Facebook, put in the comments below which one do you think I use the most. And it rhymes with Baryana's bow. Um,
That being said, if anyone was around to get these things when they dropped and you still haven't finished the catalyst, I have questions.
yeah, I was about to say. Well, to be fair, Symmetry and Tommy's matchbook are really not meta right now. Where
How is it at least fun?
they're fun, yeah. I'm not gonna deny that, but let's be honest, Danny here. Symmetry
Yeah.
and Tommy's matchbook versus Ariana's Vow and Witherhoard, a special ammo hand cannon that one-shot shields on champion, one-shot shield champion barriers, and Witherhoard, which is area of denial in PvP and does insane amounts of damage in PvE. It is a mob clearer. You compare those two to the other two, I mean, it's so hard to want to use Symmetry or Tommy's matchbook over those other two.
It really is.
So
That being said, if anyone does not have the Witherhoard Catalyst now, of all times, especially since grenade launchers have like 2 mods that make them really strong this season, go do that. It auto loads the weapon. It's worth it.
yeah. Koro just said he doesn't have any of the year 3 exotics, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how, bro. They're amazing. How? They're like Ariana's Vow was like one of my first exotics when I first got back to the game. I grinded for that quest. I did it. I did the catalyst.
I also just realized.
What's that?
Ariana's Catalyst and Witherhoard's Catalyst are the same exact thing. It's auto-loading.
Oh, that's right, because Ariana's even before the catalyst had shield piercing. I was trying to think, well,
Yeah.
what? So yeah, I forgot. It is auto-loading. Which, to be
Both of
fair,
them.
is great because their loading times are fucking atrocious.
It's just funny that the two better ones out of that both have auto-loading holster as their catalysts.
For a good fucking reason.
Auto-loading's good.
Yeah. Easier exotic glaive crafting. Did you know that there are class-specific craftable exotic glaives? We're adjusting the quest needed to receive them to only require one portion of each weapon pattern from the Wellspring weapons, as well as ensuring the first drop of each daily Wellspring weapon will have Deep Sight. Once you unlock the recipe for the first exotic glaive, the other class recipes can be purchased by your other characters from the evidence board. This is huge. I still don't have the Warlock one.
Like,
I still don't have it. It took me forever to try and grind it.
The big thing for this, if you already have one, wait on crafting the other ones until after this change.
Yeah.
Then do it.
Yeah, but this also means that if you haven't done it yet,
it's easier.
It's so much easier. Just get one, and you don't need to worry about the other two, because you'll automatically get them. Though, to be fair, I have one character, so I couldn't give a shit about the other ones.
I'm going to be honest, too. Even if you do craft them, they're probably going to spend a majority of their time riding that vault because they're not good.
They're all fucking trash, in my opinion.
Just use a legendary. The legendaries are insane, especially the one from this season.
The base legendary from Witch Queen is so fucking good because you can craft it and customize it.
Have you seen the one from this season? Because it has a new perk.
What is the new perk?
Close to melee.
What the hell is that?
Let me see if I can read off what it does, because it's kind of insane and people have been using it for boss damage. Glaive projectile final blows and improve glaive melee damage, and glaive projectile or melee damage extends the duration.
So if you get one kill, you just swipe at him and not have to use ammo.
Yep.
And it's fine because you can just probably run something like Unrelenting on it, so you can get, every time you hit, you get fucking health back.
It also works with the exotic gauntlets that increase melee damage.
There's a couple of those.
Yep.
Wait. Does that work with necrotic grips?
Yep.
Does that work with... Is it Winter's Guile?
Yep.
Fellwinter's Helm.
It. I don't know if it works with Fellwinters because that I
Hold
think
on,
needs
wait. What's
charge
the one that
related and
extends your
stuff.
auto attack range for warlocks? I never fucking use it.
I'm trying to remember actually.
There's one that
But
specifically increases the range that literally only stasis warlocks use because it gives you a longer freeze from across the map. What fucking exotic is that? God damn it.
let me check.
Fuck! I can't remember it. Because Fellwinter's is...
Ophidians.
Ophidians, thank you. Ophidians
I don't know if
aspect.
it works with Ophidians. But it does work with Winter's Guile.
I was about to say, increased glaive range.
That would be really funny.
Just think about
works,
how busted in PvP that would be.
right? It also, if I remember correctly, works with Syntheseps and what else? I think that's it. Syntheseps.
That's crazy, though. That's fucking crazy.
That's kind of nuts.
Yeah. Save the date. At dawn we raid. The new raid will be coming
March 10th.
March 10th. So it's going to be about 2 weeks after... 2 weeks? Yeah, roughly about a week and a half to 2 weeks after Lightfall drops. I know we will all be watching to see the raid. And again, this is going to be, in my opinion, because I do need to make this statement one more time. I think that this raid, as long as it, by the way, the fact that it's on a Friday and not a Saturday still kind of irritating. But I think that this raid is going, as long as it is not bugged, like, the fuck was the raid for Witch Queen?
Wow.
Vow. As long as it's not heavily bugged like Vow was, I think this will determine whether or not Clan Elysium is a top tier raiding clan, or if they just got incredibly lucky and someone else will take the throne. And I am going to do my best to stay very close attention to that.
Oh yeah.
Because I think a lot of people have the same mindset of this raid will make or break whether or not Elysium will get to continue talking shit. Which personally I really don't care. But I think it'll be very, very interesting to see.
Oh yeah. It will be. There's going to be a lot of competition, I feel like, because hype for Lightfall is really high.
Hype for Lightfall is really high, and I know there are a lot of content creators that were not happy about the past couple raids, the past couple World's First raids,
Yep.
and people are going to be at it with a vengeance.
And especially with build crafting getting massively shaken up.
Yeah, it's going to be insane, if I'm being honest. It's going to be absolutely fucking bonkers.
Yeah, new builds are going to probably break the game wide open for more people, and it's going to be fun to see.
Indeed. Along with that, matchmaking. Danny, there's a lot of information here. Can I just ask you to just quickly,
yeah,
just
I'm gonna like summarize this because
TLDR the shit out of it, because there's a wall of text that I am not willing to read, because I don't think YouTube was gonna want to read it either. So
Long story short, this is all PvP changes. They've been tweaking and messing with matchmaking because they want to get to a point where they don't have to have a freelance node because it does kind of diminish the player base by splitting them between two different modes. Cough, cough, another game that's doing that multiple ways. I don't think I have to mention the name of that game that has the community split like 4 different ways, even though it's already completely tiny.
are we
But yeah,
thinking of the same game?
thanks.
Yes.
Yeah,
I will say though, is I feel like there still needs to be, now mind you, I think that for regular Crucible, I agree. I think once they adjust the matchmaker, it'll be a little bit different. However, I think that Trials of Osiris, should still have its special weekends, where it is only freelance and only team-based matchmaking. Like you cannot go into Trials without a 3-man, and you cannot do freelance uh, unless you are solo,
yeah.
because there's
This
a
is
whole point for that.
yeah. This is what they're talking about because in season 19 they added fire team based matchmaking. They're trying to basically put that in by default, so you won't have to choose a separate node.
I mean, how
It
many?
will
Yeah.
try to match you with solo players priority instead of putting you up against teams.
Well, I mean, Danny, how many times have you and I gone into a Crucible match and we've fought a team of 6-man?
Yeah,
Like,
it's like it has come down noticeably from how it used to be,
so much more.
but it's still like it does need tweaking.
Yeah. Um. So that'll be nice. Oh God, airborne effectiveness. All right. You know what? I'm also gonna let you take this one because I think you'll be able to better kind of go over
Yep.
this.
Since they added it, basically what they're doing is they're adding more weapons that have better airborne effectiveness, but they realized, oh, yeah, the general like a good player in PvP with airborne effectiveness against like an average player is just gonna,
It is. It is a.
dominate them.
It's a very big skill gap between the two.
And that is why they introduced the airborne effectiveness system to kind of like discourage constantly being in the air unless you literally throw everything into it. Because it really is when someone can use the verticality to their advantage. It really does work because I've noticed in PvP a lot of people don't know how to aim up for some reason.
It's the reason why people run Jade Rabbit.
Yep. And a lot of the things that they've messed around with, they've removed a lot of the nerfs and penalties they gave to sliding because of the increase in airborne gunplay. Sliding is less of an issue than airborne gunplay.
That's insane with how many Titans and Hunters I see rocking shotguns.
Yep. They're doing it in the air now instead of on the ground.
Which, in my opinion, is a little bit more obnoxious. But if you all want to pause the video, I'm going to stop over all of the numbers real quick so everybody can read.
Yeah. The key highlights basically auto aim is being adjusted, the precision angle thresholds, bullet magnetism, accuracy, all of that, and then a spread angle for shotguns. All of that's being like tweaked. And they're tweaking them separately between controller and mouse and keyboard, which is nice.
Yeah, so that's really good. They're also adjusting a lot of the weapon types to have
Yeah.
just overall better better setups. I mean, this one right here, SMGs, is, to be honest, this is actually a pretty big change for SMGs. There's a lot of number changes here that, in my
Yep.
opinion, are much better At least I think.
Yeah. They want to have everything to where like airborne effectiveness isn't as like brutal, but reasonable.
Yeah. So I'm very interested about that to see how that goes. They're changing pulse rifles.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that they specifically had to nerf the BXR.
Yeah, they're like,
Don't make a pulse rifle that literally outclasses every other pulse rifle.
the problem that
Just
they
make them
had
all
with the
dog shit.
BXR, yeah, the problem that they had with it is that when they designed it, they were like, oh yeah, we give it blunt execution rounds, which encourages you to melee things to do considerably more damage. But they also gave it like the highest zoom of any like pulse rifle in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just the BXR, in my opinion, when you talk about legendary pulse rifles, is, in my opinion, I think legendary pulse rifles wise, I think the only. I'm trying to think. Actually, no, I think it is just flat out the best legendary pulse rifle in the game. Hands down. In both PvE and PvP. There are very few legendary pulse rifles that can even come close to competing with it. Hell, in my opinion, I think the BXR is better than some of the fucking exotics.
It's up there.
I mean,
No time to
in
explain
time to
exists.
kill, on average, it is better than a lot of the exotic pulse rifles. I mean, for example, here's a great
Aside from
example.
the outliers being,
No time to explain requires a kill to proc its passive.
it does, but it's also a laser.
Yes.
It's so stable.
Its zoom is also fucking dog shit. Oh my god, that zoom is so bad. It's like 15 something.
And then Vigilance Wing got sort of buffed considerably.
Yeah. Yeah, the BXR can compete almost hand in hand with a lot of the exotic pulse rifles. And the best part, it doesn't take up an exotic slot.
It's true. It's a good gun, and especially you can craft it, so you can make it exactly what you want.
Which is fucking disgusting. Because
Give it
blunt rounds
enhanced
are fucking
perks.
gross.
Enhanced versions of those perks are disgusting.
Also, I'm not gonna lie, every time I hear blunt rounds, I just think that it just shoots blunts out of its barrel. Because it smokes guardians. I'm sorry, fire me for that fucking pun.
I will say it's also interesting to see that they're dialing back their buff to sidearms.
Which is very interesting because, if I'm gonna be honest, I feel like there are very few sidearms that a lot of people are willing to use. In my opinion, there are 3 that come to mind, and 2 of them are exotics. Number 1, Traveler's Chosen.
Yeah.
Traveler's Chosen has been an OG sidearm for many players in PvP, and it will continue to be so. Number 2 is the Lonesome. I think Lonesome has just a phenomenal, and I mean, that fucking gun has probably one of the best perk pools of any sidearm. And it was part of Season of Arrivals, correct? So it didn't even get sunset.
Yep.
So
it's still there.
Yeah, it is fucking bonkers. And the one that everybody bitches about, Forerunner.
Forerunner is an odd.
I mean, that sidearm fucking is so goddamn strong. It hits like a truck. It's a fucking hand cannon.
It's kind of like in between like a sniper rifle and a sidearm. It
has one of the highest ranges for fucking sidearms with a fucking 120 RPM hand cannon's fucking damage. Or no, my bad. 160 RPM hand cannon's damage.
It's pretty funny.
It's fucking gross.
And it does more damage when you break a shield.
Oh my god. And God forbid you get a fucking kill and you're like, you know what? Let me just fucking make a grenade real quick. Now I have 3 of them bitches. That fragmentation grenade also has a pretty large range if you manage to get it off in PvP.
I
Because
will say this: the buff they gave to it in PVE is pretty good.
the one where it doesn't require, where it just takes less than half the clip, right? To get the
It
grenade.
all like the grenade itself also does significantly more damage. Like kind of insanely more damage.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, because I remember testing it out during the season that it came out, or the season right after, when you had to go to the different taken areas. Um, and it cleared fucking rooms. That grenade cleared rooms that. So now I can't only imagine what it does. Because here's the other issue. It does direct impact damage too.
Yep. Like I used it just out of curiosity after they buffed it in a strike playlist, and the number that I noticed on an enemy was like 63k. I was like, oh, okay, all right.
That's a lot of boss damage.
That's some pretty decent damage.
Yeah, and the best part is the grenade doesn't have a timer. Once
Nope.
you use half the clip, like once you proc the grenade to get the grenade, it stays there until you use it. So you can just
And
hold on to that bitch.
it also doesn't use your actual grenade charge. So it's just a free second grenade.
Yeah, so in theory, for example, as a, like, let's say for example, Solar Warlock, because this is as obviously as a Warlock main, uh what is it? Starfire? No, Starfire Protocol?
Starfire is one of them.
Yeah, where it gives you a second fusion grenade. If you
Yep.
have Forerunner, you now theoretically have 3 grenades.
Yep. The only difference is that Forerunners will be kinetic damage, which in and of itself is more raw damage.
Yeah, because it doesn't do well into match shields, but it's still a lot of fucking damage.
Yep.
So, I'm fine with that. Um Also, interestingly enough, uh they nerfed Dead Messenger.
In PvP,
Yep.
which makes
PvE
sense.
though, it is still pretty strong.
It's a really strong weapon,
Yeah.
especially with the change that they made to the elemental swapping exotics,
Yeah, they also uh changed DMT again.
which I this is an understandable change. I can agree with this change.
They made
'Cause
it, yeah, because they made it harder to hip fire, but they made it easier to aim down sights, so you actually need to choose which one you would prefer.
Yep. And they also removed the damage penalty for 5 stacks of cranial spike. So now when you hit the max RPM of the weapon, it no longer nerfs the damage.
Which is insane.
Also, I think it's a perfect trade-off since it makes it harder to hit fire. You get the damage back, perfectly fine.
Yeah. Along with that, Revoker has been used more and more in PvP. So the reversal of fortune perk uh, is capping the return on multiple misses to return one shot. So now it's 2 misses within 6 seconds.
They needed to do that a long time ago because it was so so bad.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, let me shoot both of my bullets off into the distance. Oh, look at that! I got both of them back.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not okay.
Along with that, they're doing a lot. They're doing a heavy weapon balance pass, adding subclass 3.0 verbs to several exotic weapons, tuning kinetic weapons, and adding a new perk to make kinetic weapons more valuable. Now, I have been saying this for years, and I'm going to continue to say it. Please stop shitting on kinetic weapons. They still have a place. As a reminder, Arbalist is kinetic.
Yep. The main thing that I would like to see them do is make primary weapons better.
You,
Just specifically for like all forms of content, because primary weapons usually get thrown out the window in like in-game content.
yeah, with the exception of the couple exotics that people run there. Like,
Yep.
I mean, a great example of that is Arbalist. Like,
Well,
you
like primaries, it would be like Outbreak or let's see, what was another
Vigilance Wing
primary
is
that people
also a
use?
primary, isn't it?
Vigilance Wing.
Yeah, Vigilance is a
Um,
primary.
this is another one that people
I
use a
mean,
lot
I mean,
in game.
Forerunner is a primary.
That uses special ammo.
Oh, trying to think. Oh, pff, um, last word.
Yep. There are very few primary weapons, especially non-exotics, that get used in in-game because you could just double special.
Yeah, I mean, now mind you, I am one of those scumbags that runs almost primarily primaries non-special ammo in the primary slot. But that's because that's what I feel most comfortable.
Like a lot of the oh, this is how you do the new dungeon extremely quickly. I see people using like Wither Horde and a trace rifle.
Yeah, it can get a little insane. And where the fuck is my goddamn hoodie? It is a little chilly in here. So I'm gonna let you do a small little rant about this real quick. While I put my hoodie on because it's
It's
cold.
like
It's cold as shit in here.
I just want to see them buff primaries up, especially like just in in-game content. Because I feel like to get the most out of in-game content, you need something like a trace rifle now, because it deletes things so much faster. SMGs are also really strong as far as like primary ammo weapons go. Which
I think certain SMGs are very strong. I think,
yeah,
and I now hear me out on this, is that I have always been a firm believer of auto rifles. I think auto rifles in basically the majority of the Destiny 2 metas for both PvE and PvP have been more reliable than SMGs, simply because if you want a faster firing auto rifle, like if you want an auto rifle that fires as fast as an SMG, that's
yeah,
available, right? For example, a great one, for those of you that did manage to pick one up, Season of the Splicer had Chroma Rush, which is a 700 RPM auto rifle with like a 60 round clip.
it's a pretty fun auto. I
It's
will say
it's
though,
a phenomenal
I
weapon.
I do still I feel like they do need to give auto rifles a little bit more love in PvE.
I also agree. I mean, now mind you, I almost use auto rifles religiously in
It's
PvE.
like
But that's also because Void Warlock with Gnawing Hunger go burr. With Nezarec
I
Sin.
like realistically, I feel like auto rifles should be doing more damage than SMGs, or at the very least have more range.
Well, yeah, because the issue is that auto rifles only have like what most of them only have about maybe five, maybe 10 meters on most SMGs. Which, as a matter of fact, in the more meta dungeons and grant like Nightfalls right now, it's very much becoming less close quarters and more longer range.
It's
Um,
like
because I mean, take a look at the Witch Queen. The Witch Queen strikes. The Witch Queen strikes are huge open map ones
yep,
that you need a little bit of extra range for.
which like the autos should have like an advantage over the SMGs, but I feel like in most setups you see more people using SMGs still,
And that,
just because like a lot of them are faster rate of fire for the same damage.
yeah, well, and especially because they're much more effective in a closer range. Because again, like you said, the fire rate is just so much better because you don't need to worry about bullet spread when you're up close.
And also, if you're using mouse and keyboard, SMGs are like
God tier, yes.
completely stable, whereas autos bounce around still.
Yeah, that is the only reason why I don't like it is because compared to M and K, Controller SMGs are not nearly as good. So I think that's one of the bigger differences. I think auto rifles are a little bit more reliable on controller side. Um,
Yep.
but they're still easily doable with with SMGs on controller. You just need to be a little bit
Yep.
better with aiming.
And if you use something like, for instance, the Icolos SMG that they just brought back, you don't have a problem with it at all. It's super stable.
Yeah. They're changing a bunch of the hipfire reticles. They're creating a full auto melee setting, which is interesting. Another set of craftable reprised raid weapons with an origin trait, similar to what they did to Deepstone Crypt. Regular seasonal and mid-season balance updates, which will be nice to see, and more. Along with
There
that,
you go.
Titan's ramparts got a change. Uh,
They are increasing the time it takes for the barrier to recharge when you have Titans equipped and reducing its durability because Titans has been a problem in PvP for a while.
I mean, it was a massive issue in I mean, how many of those do you remember watching all of those videos in the most recent past couple trials of Osiris where it's been titans just shooting into each other's barriers and then
Yep.
just bubbling, and then after bubble they put their barriers back up.
Bubble and Titans have become a very big issue in PvP and also a steady increase in wells.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
I think the Titans change is something that's long overdue for PvP because, like, Titans, Jotun,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a problem.
Yeah. Fuck Jotun. They're also changing a lot of other abilities. Um, Primarily they're changing Titan Barricade. That's Titan Thruster, correct?
Yep,
And
which
then
is
they're
their, like, dodge.
and then they're yeah, and then is this also a Titan dodge here?
That is Hunter's
That is
dodge.
Hunter's dodge. Yeah, so they're changing it. So overall nerfs to Titan Barricade, Titan Thruster, and Hunter's dodge. Which, if I'm gonna be honest, I genuinely believe that all three of these were a pain. I mean, I don't think Thruster was nearly that bad. But
Oh,
it's good to see a change on it.
it was with the melee exotics.
Oh well, yeah,
Can't agree.
with the glaives, like that was rough. The barricades again, like you said, I think the barricades were the biggest problem for that. And then hunter dodges are just too fucking obnoxious. Like they're just so fucking annoying, just nonstop. Because a lot of the hunter builds, and especially their exotics,
They
re-
revolve around dodges. Yep.
yeah. So it's just like congratulations, like you get more free shit. You're now Oprah Winfrey.
Yep. Now with that, you're going to have to choose in your armor build if you want to go for more resilience or more mobility to reduce that cooldown. You can't have both.
Yeah. They've also changed the Touch of Thunder Storm Grenade. Now, please remind me, which class is this for?
Titan.
Titan.
Another major problem. The storm grenade that would track you relentlessly and do ungodly amounts of damage if you got stuck in it.
Yeah, and they've basically. These are a lot of nerfs. I think they might have actually put this thing into the dirt with this.
Which they kind of needed to. It was basically the end all be all
Yeah.
for art grenades.
Imagine Arc Titans besides, fucking Thunder Crash. Um,
Yeah,
and then they removed stability, incoming flinch, and shotgun pellet spread penalties while sliding.
that's a PvP nerf, I
Yeah,
believe.
it is. If I'm correct, it is strictly PvP because this is all PvP. Everything that
Yeah,
we've been going over has mostly, for the most part, been PvP because I think they would have stated it otherwise for PvE.
yeah. PvE they're trying to leave alone because they feel like the subclass 3.0 changes, aside from a few, have been fairly good. The
i.e.,
ones that have it,
Solar
Warlock.
Warlock and Arc Warlock being absolute fucking dog shit right now.
Everything that's not Titan.
I don't know if I can fully
Some of the
agree with
Hunter
that.
stuff is
Hunter Golden Gun is
strong.
pretty gross right now.
Golden Gun is actually the weakest solar one right now.
Well, I have
Yeah,
seen some
Blade Barrage is
serious
stronger.
damage from Golden Gun recently.
Blade Barrage is still stronger.
Okay, well, yeah, Blade Barrage is fucking cracked. But, I mean, here's the thing, though. Warlocks got Void. Otherwise, they got shafted in both Solar and Arc departments. No other class got shafted nearly as hard in 2 out of the 3 fucking subclasses they got.
Yeah. Warlock's other Light 3.0 does need love in PvE. Void, however, is
Let
great.
me charge
Void's
my
fine.
fucking grenade to provide an overshield again, god damn it! Fuck!
It's like...
How hard is that to ask for? Give me my shit back!
It's like, I feel like with the build crafting changes, it's gonna help it a little bit.
I pray to God.
Need some built-in stuff.
They need to return Solar Warlock to what it was before 3.0. So here's my thing. Almost every single thing from Solar Warlock was utter dog shit with the exception of 2 things. Number 1, the bonus grenade damage was a huge change that I was a fan of. However, taking away the fact that you could charge a grenade and then throw it to give your ally a shield, they took that away, and honestly, in my opinion, that was really shitty because it was a great oh shit button for if your buddy was getting a little surrounded. The other thing from Solar Warlock that I loved was they gave you a second melee that actually fits Solar Warlock. And it's not even a melee. It's a ranged snap.
The snap is probably the best melee. It's the most satisfying melee in the game.
It is.
It really is.
It is very satisfying to run. But god damn did they butcher Solar Warlock. Solar Warlock needs loves, and Arc Warlock just doesn't exist in my eyes. It's so fucking dogshit garbage.
Arc Warlock is only ad clear, basically, right now.
I have gear for all. So Koro was mentioning something. Solar Warlocks are insane in PvE, though. No.
Still is.
Yeah, you need to recorrect yourself. Well is still good in PvE. The rest of fucking Solar Warlock kit is fucking dog shit.
Dawnblade is bad.
Dawnblade is dog shit. It is straight up fucking garbage in both PvE and PvP. There are 2 Warlock builds. It is grenade spam or whatever the fuck the current elemental well build is. That is it. And then yes, Koro, I have Starfire Protocol. It's still not good enough. In my opinion.
The only thing
Go ahead.
Dawnblade that makes it somewhat viable is Dawn Chorus. If you don't have the helmet, Dawnblade's just...
And even then, Dawn Chorus is... I feel like all of the I feel like all the Solar Blade ones are just so bad right now. All of the exotics.
They nerfed the duration.
They nerfed the duration, and they didn't compensate any of it with the solar Warlock exotics. The only Solar Warlock exotic in my eyes that exists at this current moment is Starfire Protocol. Every other one is dog shit garbage, except for a net neutral one, which works for all of the classes, which is Lunafactions. And let's be honest, Lunafactions is still going to be probably one of the number 1 pieces you're going to wear as a well user, because it's just a flat-out team-wide buff. There's no reason not to run it.
I weigh it in 2 ways. Is this going to make me ever use something that's not well, or is it going to make me play any other class, any other subclass besides Devour Warlock, because just being a literal unkillable machine is kind of hard to switch off of, I'll be honest.
Yeah, and Koro's trying to argue that Void is good, but it's massively overclassed by Starfire Protocol, and I'm gonna hard disagree. As
It
a Warlock main, Void, Void fucking Warlock with Devour is the best Warlock build there is. Other
it
than
has synergy.
being the quintessential well user in a 6-man raid. Like, if you are doing Grandmaster Nightfalls, Void Warlock with Devour is so much more efficient and so much better. How are you going to... And here's the thing. It is so hard to compete with Void Warlock because of two fucking exotics. Number one, Controverse Hold. Handheld Supernova exists still. And
I still probably
Nezarec
wouldn't
Sin.
use it. Yep. I still
Nezarec
wouldn't use anything
Sin
over that.
is the quintessential Void Warlock exotic. There is no other build that that is so key with a piece of with an exotic piece than Void Warlock with Nezarec Sin. Nezarec Sin, if you're running Void Warlock without Nezarec Sin or Controverse Hold, you're just hurting yourself, in my opinion. Like, those two exotics carry Void Warlock. To be fair, though, I will admit I did play around with Astrocyte Verse with Warlock Blink, and I'm not gonna lie, it is a little bit satisfying in PvP. It's not good, but it is kind of satisfying.
Yeah.
Because you get faster blinks. So if you've got like a whole team on your ass, you can just run away. And no one's gonna catch you. There's not a single person that's gonna fucking catch you, other than probably a Titan, like a Thunder Crash Titan.
Oh yeah.
And they need to have clean sight lines for that. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but like, no, Void Warlock with Nezarec Sin is the absolute best build Warlocks have right now.
It's the least investment into building for the most synergy.
I would even argue you can even get more. Like, it has a very low skill floor and a very low skill ceiling. Well, I can't say that. It's got a high skill ceiling, because if you know how to abuse Nezarec Sin, it is like, Nezarec Sin by itself is just going to have use. No matter what, it's always going to have use on Void Warlock. However,
Yeah.
if you know how to properly rotate through your abilities to always have Devour up and always have Nezarec Sin active, you will never not have an ability available to use. It is just that fucking good of an exotic. And there is no way Starfire Protocol or any other fucking Warlock exotic can compete with it.
Out of the three, I do feel like Void is probably the best all round.
Yeah, I mean, Void Warlock definitely feels the most comfortable, and it really, compared to Solar and Arc Warlock, Void Warlock,
It's more versatile.
It's more versatile, but more importantly, it feels so much more like the OG Warlock. Because the only problem that OG Void Warlock had was Devourer being locked behind having Blink as your super. Because in order to get Devour, you had to have... What is that ability called? I barely even use it.
It was one of the Nova Bombs.
Was it one of the Nova Bombs?
Yeah, it was one of the Nova Bombs.
Okay, yeah, because you had to consume your grenade. Whereas...
Yeah.
You don't have to consume your grenade anymore.
It just activates.
It just activates. And now, mind you, it is a slightly minor version. It's a slightly weaker version than the one that you had to consume a grenade for. But it is so much... So, here's the reason why. Is because pre-Void 3.0, that Devour, if you properly used, lasted you the entirety of a fucking GM. Like, it was just that good. And then by the time it ended, your grenade was already back up to reproc it. Devour Warlock is weird because I feel like it is equal to what it was beforehand, but in different regards. Slightly different regards. Because it's much easier to activate. It's so much more easier to activate.
I feel like in the current build crafting, it may change come Lightfall, but in the current build crafting, just all you really need to synergize with Void Warlock is Nezarec Sun. That's literally all you need because you get your abilities back so fast with any Void kill.
I mean, a great example is literally just using a Void weapon. I literally just used Gnawing Hunger with Subsistence Rampage. Congratulations, you now have kills. Like
pre-nerf Skull had a chance. It gave you that question, like, do I want to use this or Nezarec?
And then they butchered it and I want everybody to notice, all right? And I want everybody to note how long did it take for them to nerf Skull of Ahamkara? How long it took them to nerf Crown of Tempests? How long it took them to nerf Geomag stabilizers?
Yep.
On average, it took them roughly about 1 to 2 weeks to nerf them. How long did Stasis Hunter go without a fucking nerf?
Here's a better one. How long did One-Eyed Mask go without a nerf?
My point exactly. Warlocks do not get to have fun in Destiny 2. Because all their shit gets immediately fucking nerfed.
Warlocks do get the short end of the stick with the nerfs. They literally get nerfed with, within a week.
We are the small Warlocks are statistically the smallest player base in Destiny 2. It's like a total of what? 15% of like the overall player base has a Warlock, and like less than that has a Warlock that is at bare minimum soft capped. Like, that's insane. That's insane.
It's like One-Eyed Mask literally went unchecked for like 3 years, basically.
Yeah. It took Warlocks 2 weeks to get all of their exotics nerfed into oblivion. And it took a whole year for Stasis Hunters to even get touched once.
It's like, it wasn't even that bad. Like, that nerf wasn't even that bad. It's just like, yes, it gives people the ability to, like, shoot back with most stasis aside from the super. Like,
I mean,
that's a given.
I was about to say, Stasis Hunter Super was
it lasts way too long.
It lasts way too long, and it was way too big of area denial.
Like, it just lasts way too long in PvP. It really
was too strong.
does.
It was too strong. Like, and I don't know how many times I have to say it to all of you Hunter mains that are like, oh, but all the other classes don't get nerfed enough. That's a fucking lie. Because Titans get nerfed.
Yeah.
Because Titans get nerfed in half the time that Hunters do, and Warlocks get nerfed almost instantly. The moment a Warlock build is viable, on average, 2 weeks later, it is immediately nerfed. And that is because every single Hunter player gets pissed that they get instantly fucking one-shot, and then they immediately go on Reddit, bitch about it, and then Bungie changes it. Warlocks and Titans have been bitching about Hunter stasis for a whole year. And it got changed in what? Witch Queen. After a whole year, it finally got changed.
That the most vocal player base in PvP is Titans.
And Coral brings a great example. They nerfed volatile rounds in a week. Another Warlock thing that they nerfed.
Warlock and Hunter both kind of benefited super hard from that.
I feel like it hurt Warlocks a little bit more, and that's because the volatile round specifically was super key to their Devour build at that time, before a lot of the other changes. That's why Warlocks, I think, got hurt just a little bit more than Hunters, though I will agree Hunters did get hurt by it.
I'm just super happy that they have finally started separating PvE and PvP sandboxes.
Very much hard agree. Because when they did the flat out like buffs and nerfs across both, that caused a lot of issues.
Yep. It's like you need that separation between the two because PvP is a completely different feeling.
Yeah.
But yeah, the retrofit escapade was the whole point that they nerf volatile rounds, which I get it. But seriously, they should just unnerf MGs against bosses.
Please let
Make
me.
MGs viable.
Every single weapon I love, they just hate. 140 hand cannons,
Like
auto rifles,
Thunderlord,
light machine guns. They all keep hurting my babies.
like Thunderlord got reintroduced in Destiny 2 and it started melting bosses because of the thunder, and they're like, nope, we gotta nerf all MGs. Like, come on. Don't hurt the MGs.
I feel like there's only one MG that's still viable. Can you guess which one it is?
After the buff, it's two, but they're basically the same gun. And that's Xenophage and Grand Overture. They're
Yeah.
basically the same gun.
Yeah, because Grand Overture and Xenophage are just rocket launchers masquerading as machine guns. Well,
I will
actually, I
say,
take that back. Grand Overture is rocket launcher. Xenophage is a fucking grenade launcher. Let's be honest. Let's not cut the bullshit.
Yeah.
Like they're just other guns masquerading as light machine guns.
Grand Overture's buff, by the way, is kind of nutty.
It feels so much better after they
Those
nerfed it. It
missiles.
felt yeah, because they nerfed it. It felt like shit, and then they buffed it in a different way, and it actually feels good to use again, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah, those missiles are nuts.
As long as you don't die. Xeno has slowly started creeping back into the meta. Here's the thing that a lot of people forget. Xeno's been in the meta. Xeno has just always been at the bottom of the meta. Because there's like a list of guns that will forever that will be meta. And then there's the list of guns that are just out of the meta. Xeno is right here on that line of in the meta. Xeno is never fully out of the meta because of what it does.
Yep.
And if they ever give it a catalyst, I am calling it now, Dani, that bitch will get instantly nerfed a week later. I am calling it now. If that gun ever gets a catalyst, it will be instantly nerfed.
Like,
also, it does. If it gets a catalyst, it will be instantly nerfed because it'll a catalyst will literally push it to infinity and beyond. It will send it to the moon.
The reason that Xeno stays viable is just because it doesn't rely on crits.
Yeah, because it's just explosive
damage.
Yeah, it's explosive damage. It's explosive payload built in.
So it's always just going to be passively good.
And it gets rangefinder.
If it gets I feel like if they do give it a catalyst, they're probably not going to give it something for damage. It'd probably just be auto-loading or something.
So, and here's the thing. I think auto-loading would be really good, but I feel like, here's my thing. I feel like too many machine guns have auto-loading as it is. Like, let's be honest.
True.
How many legendary machine guns do you know have auto-loading? Like, 90% of them. Because of that reason
Basically, all of them can have that as a perk, I feel like.
Yeah, and here's my thing. Because I've discussed this idea with you, and I want to know what you in YouTube land, and for those of you that are watching on stream right now, what your thoughts are on it. I feel like the perfect catalyst for Xenophage would be, currently it has a 13 clip set. I think what they should do is what like they did with Ariana's, is they bump it up to 14 shots in the clip, but every time you fire, it shoots 2 grenades out at once. So you can blow through your clip quicker, but it still has the same lengthy reload that it's always had. Because that was one of the downsides of Xeno, was its lengthy reload, right? Along with and then because originally, if you remember, Dani, they nerfed the fire rate on it, and it killed Xeno. Like, that fire rate nerf murdered Xeno.
Because, like, when its initial form, it was already slow.
And
nerfing that, yes, it took its DPM down, but it also kind of fully replaced it.
yeah,
Like,
so I think that if they up the damage or if they up the shots in the clip by 1 from 13 to 14 and they have it shoot 2 out at once, it will give it the viability and just make it a perk change. You can either shoot it single fire or shoot double fire. Double fire, you will shoot twice. It'll shoot 2 times at once. Or you can do single fire. You'll still get the 14 shots, so that way the double shot will be for bosses, and the single shot you can run for mobs. Because that will also give it flexibility, and I think that you don't need to change the DPM after that, because the double shot is the DPM change. I think that would make it so much more viable.
like the only thing that keeps it out of being like top tier in most of the metas is that it just doesn't do crit damage. That's
Also,
basically it.
it's also the amount of ammo that you can carry.
Yep.
Because
It's
you
just
get on average, you normally get 13 shots in the clip with roughly about 25 bullets spare.
Yep.
You don't even get 3 full clips. You get 2.5 clips, which really hurts. Or no, my bad. It's 13 bullets, and then without, I think it's reserves, it is 18 extra bullets. So you get 2 clips plus 5. With reserves, it is 13 bullets in the clip with 25 bullets, I believe. It's either 25 or 26 bullets in reserve. So it's roughly about 3 clips. And if you're not running ammo mods, it is very hard to get a full clip.
And the other thing that just usually takes away from it in a lot of in-game encounters is that most of them are just burst DPS checks, and its slow rate of fire makes that kind of hard.
Yeah. BD just said to make the Catalyst Havoc automatically crit. No.
It's like if it gives it the ability to crit if you hit a crit spot, it would actually be pretty solid.
I think it might actually send it to the moon, because if you remember correctly, the explosive damage on it already as it is fucking dumb. Like, it's fucking raw damage is already absurd. You give it 2 times damage? You're gonna give Xenophage 2 times damage on crits.
The way that I look at it as well is if it's able to crit by itself, you can take Divinity out of your raid setup.
And you can just run a Shadow Shot instead.
Yep.
Like, because here's the thing, people that don't realize is, Xeno, even with Tether, it's still, as far as I know of, it still isn't allowed to crit.
Like, some encounters you don't really need a div. Like, for instance, Oryx. Oryx you don't need a div.
Yeah.
Oryx crit spot's fucking huge. You got a debuff on Oryx, you're fine.
Yeah. Like, in other encounters, like War Priest, you do need div, because that bitch has way too much goddamn HP.
He just moves.
Yeah, and is
anything that's like, it's hard to hit the crit spot, div excels.
Yeah. But Xeno, the issue with Xeno is that it can't crit even with Shadow Shot, with Tether, because it's explosive damage. It will never be allowed to crit because of that.
Yeah.
So if you gave it the ability to crit, I think it could almost be on par with Gallarhorn. The only reason why Gallarhorn would still take the cake is because Wolfpack rounds exist.
Yeah. Which, like, I'm gonna be really interested to see what happens in Lightfall with the shakeups, because they could be creeping up a little bit more.
Yeah, War Priest has too much HP. What?
It's like
Hold on. War Priest, other than Oryx, has the most H. Well, actually, no. Doesn't War Priest actually technically have more HP than Oryx?
I think in D2, War Priest does have more HP than Oryx, but Oryx is kind of if
Yeah,
you can get to the fight, you pretty much finish the race.
yeah. Like Oryx, in comparison to War Priest, is bitch made. Like you can. Have you seen the fights? So I don't remember if you saw, Danny, the amount of people that did the Deepstone Crypt and they all ran the same exotic guns trying to DPS. I think it's Tanix. What's the
Oh,
what's the boss in Deepstone Crypt again?
that
It
is Tanix, yeah.
Yeah, Tanix, where they were taking like they were doing like Cerberus +1 and like fucking last word, like all last words, and they were testing like how long it would take to DPS, like max DPS a boss. People are doing that with Oryx because Oryx is bitch made.
Like Oryx, you can use basically anything, really. Oryx is not a difficult boss fight. It's just not dying. That's basically it.
Yeah, War Priest is just more obnoxious because it has in D2 more HP than Oryx, and
And it moves.
and War Priest actively moves.
Like in D1, if I'm remembering correctly, I don't think War Priest moved the whole time.
I don't remember. I never did War Priest in D1, so I couldn't tell you. I'd have to watch. I think I'd have to go back and watch Dado's video about that because Dado did a full. Dado actually, yeah, Dado last year released
I'm
his full
pretty
King's Fall
sure.
raid. It's like the full what, like 24-hour raid
Yeah,
they did.
I'm pretty sure that in OG Kingsfall, War Priest did not move during DPS.
Double check that. Those of you that are watching this in YouTube land, put in the comments if he did or not. I'd have to go back and double check. Anyways, we went on a massive fucking tangent there. We should probably keep moving because we aren't even halfway through this TWAB yet. Though I think we're on the back half now, so we should.
We're on like the filler bits.
Yeah. So Lunar New Year. Get your emblem.
That's basically it.
Yeah. There's also the rabbit emote, which, by the way, I love the Halo-based armor set. The Spartan-based armor set here. I think that's pretty.
Oh
cool.
yeah, that's this season's armor. That's the Warmind avatar set.
Yeah,
Thing
it's
for the
all
Titan.
like Halo-based armor, isn't it?
It's I think it's actually supposed to be kind of like the Seventh Seraph, but it does look a whole lot like
Yeah, this looks like
ODST armor.
I think this is the Mark 6. The Mark 6 well, hold on, no, cuz it's the Mark 6 helmet, but it's the CQB shoulder pad. You can tell I played a lot of Halo and Halo Reach PvP. Cuz I can name them. So, unclaimed older prime gaming loot is about to expire. Claim your shit. You should have did that already. Claim it now.
Yeah.
Do it.
And then we got some wallpapers.
Yeah, it's like Destiny, but for your phone. And this is Elsie and Anna Bray with the Exos. This is just beautiful artwork. Or no, is that
Ooh,
no? That's not
I think that's
Elsie.
Rasputin.
Yeah, them Rasputin or Clovis.
Definitely Rasputin.
Yeah. But I think I mean this is just phenomenal fucking artwork. It's absolutely beautiful how well done it is.
Some really good wallpapers.
And then OG, you're hovering above Earth.
Nice little view of the traveler just floating there.
Yeah. I always forget how fucking large that thing is.
It's massive.
Yeah. It's like the entirety of the size of fucking the UK.
Yeah, because like in the game, the tower itself is not directly underneath it.
Yeah, it's like to this it's this literally this wall like right here. It's literally this circle, this semicircle right here. Actually, wait, no, it's this circle right here. It's this one. or somewhere in here. It's basically this area right here is where
Yeah.
the fucking tower is. Uh, this one of the warlock and the fucking orbs from the recent season.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good artwork, and then all of the different Seraph gear. Yeah, the Titan armor straight up looks like fucking Halo armor. You cannot tell me otherwise. Like, that straight up is the Mark 6 helmet. And I think that's actually the CQB helmet on the Warlock. Also, love the fact that the Warlock is actually the one that's in front. And not the fucking Hunter.
Speaking of armor, though, can I say that I am super excited to see where we get the armor from the Lightfall trailer from? Because that looks
Oh,
sick.
the neon look looks so fucking
Like,
good.
the Guardians in that trailer are strapped, and I'm kind of for that.
Hey, low key, Danny, they do be kind of dripping.
They do like that.
Yo, they
Titan
got
looks
that
like
drip.
they're covered in like grenade belts. Like, yes, go for it.
Yo, low key, Danny, I really want to see the memes of the Guardians roll up, and it's just DMX, just what a hood, what a hood, what a hood at.
Yep.
That or it's just the Supreme song with the bass drop on it when they first walk up. That's what I want to see the edits of. That's what I want to see MP edits do on YouTube.
Uh,
Oh, but yeah, there's some good ones. Um, oh yeah, yeah, I forgot. People lost their characters, but it was just Stadia players being Stadia players.
yep.
Known issues, scanner augments and operations not being correct. Lots of centipede error codes. Apparently, people can't activate or progress through Operation Sankas, and they're unable to progress the reshaping the Enigma quest. And the Destiny Companion app is having bounty acquisition rate being slow.
Yep.
Um,
About it.
yeah. Now we are getting into the community stuff, and this is Salta Greppo, basically Elden Lords, but in D2. Now I have actually watched this on Twitter, and I will say though, it is actually the editing is very 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 good. It's a very good, a very good little short film there. Along with that, it is the Madam Shaw. Unfortunately, I don't know how to read Spanish. I'm sorry. But I
Long
could already
story
tell.
short, three player completion of Vault of Glass. Pretty cool.
Pretty impressive. Yeah. Oh, my bad. No, maybe it's oh, my bad. I take that back. It might be Portuguese because it's Destiny Game BR for Brazil, so it might actually be Portuguese. I apologize.
Yeah, that probably is Portuguese.
Yeah, it's one of the Romance languages.
Still,
if you know, you know.
a 3 player completion of Vault of Glass without Stealth Res Warlock, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm happy about the armor and mod changes. No more element specific shit. Yeah.
That was the thing I was super happy about. I called that in our last one. I was like,
Yeah.
I hope they do that.
Oh, and then Lemon Boy about Crow. This is I actually also have seen this. This is a little cute little short video. And then he's beauty, he's grace. Here's a great shot of Rasputin's face.
That is
And
sick.
yeah, and this is by Blair Gustavo. Let me scroll up a little bit. Blair Gustavo, Earth's Archangel. And this art is fucking phenomenal.
It's like, it shows you the entire like Warmind network behind Rasputin and
With
a
the
little
Traveler.
image of the Traveler, and it's so good.
It's just so well put together. It's very, very, very well done. And then Unfaded Anxiety. And it is their Kitsune Warlock with the Ghost.
And it looks like that is Claws of Ahamkara, I
Oh, that
believe.
is. That's a Warlock.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because the Kitsune mask was
Kitsune
only for the
armor.
Warlock, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That is
Some
very,
good
very
art.
good. Very good art.
Also, the next thing is something to note.
One last thing. New year, new socials. The Destiny 2 team accounts. For those of you that have been paying attention to Twitter, you'll have noticed that the Destiny 2 team posted a couple things specifically saying, hey, we are new. Please mention us if you want to talk to us. They're trying to be a little bit more transparent about things.
Yeah.
So please, as a reminder, stop flaming the fucking devs.
Like they are
Stop
moving.
harassing them.
Yeah, they're moving to one basically account for questions regarding the game and such that will be like addressed by the community managers. And as they mentioned, you can still follow and ask the community managers themselves about stuff because, like, I mean that's what they're there for. But that's for most of the questions, basically.
Yeah. So it is Twitter, Bungie, and Reddit. And then what about community managers? I like following them. And this kind of goes into all about following them and the Bungie D2 the D2 team accounts. So please pay attention to that. Have they named who the new CM is?
I think the the one that's taking over for DMG, I think, is actually Hippie. I think Hippie's the one that's taking over.
It might be. As they were also the one that wrote this article.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Overall, very, very heavy TWAB.
Yeah.
Very spicy indeed, chat.
Yeah. I like the big takeaways from this: loadouts being in the game right away on Lightfall, no more elemental affinity for armor mods, and the artifact being a passive.
And then on the PvP side, lots of nerfs. Cause apparently, fuck you, Titans.
I mean, I mean,
I mean, I don't play Titans, so I don't give a fuck.
you go into PvP, how many players in the game are Titans?
And how many of them were running Titans Ramparts?
Or Bubble?
Yeah.
Or Arc?
Yeah.
Just Titans in general.
I have never wanted to agree with a Hunter main as much as I do right now, Danny.
Like even Titan mains are like, yeah, there's too many Titans in PvP. Like, goddamn.
Yeah, I think the last time I loaded into a Crucible match, I was the one Warlock. There was like 2 Hunters, and there was like 9 Titans, and I'm like,
Let me tell
looks
you,
like I'm grenade spamming because that is about the only thing I'm gonna be allowed to do.
playing Iron Banner Fortress, I went into a game literally between both teams. There were maybe 2 or 3 supers that were not a bubble.
Yeah, bubble OP. Well, especially because
Bubble,
they reduced the cooldown of it.
also because it was a control point mode, and you
Yeah.
just get your super, wait for the special point that earns more points faster, and just bubble on it, and then you'd have people fighting in bubbles.
Yeah.
Which is why everyone was using Wither Horde.
Yeah, and then BD's over here mad as hell because he's a dirty Titan puncher. Punch main.
Yeah, the PvP nerfs needed.
Yeah, very needed. Deathbringer the point. Jesus.
That's like the only way you could do it is like Nova Bombs or like Wither Horde, Deathbringer.
Nova
like,
Bomb inside the fucking bubble.
You can
God.
Nova Bomb outside of it. Nova Bomb's like one of the few things that can kill the bubble and the Titan.
Oh, that's right, because if you go run the Nova Bomb, with with the tracers, the tracer
Yep.
projectiles.
So it's like when I was playing the warlock during that, easy, fine, perfectly okay. I don't care about the bubbles at that point. But anything else is like you can't deal with that. Like,
Yeah,
that point's gone. You just
yeah.
forget about it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Other than that though, anything else that you want to say about the TWAB, Danny?
I'm very interested for this week's. This is set up for some very spicy Lightfall
Yeah.
info.
So we're probably going to get a lot of info about what's going to be happening probably on Neo. Well, I don't know. They might release that a little bit closer. Like I said, I think the first one of the first TWAB of February, I think is when they're going to do the big Neo Muna like
Yeah,
information
we're
hub. I think the TWAB this week, if you're watching this the week that this one is released, or the one of the week after this one was technically released, the week of this video being released. Um, I think this next TWAB is going to be a lot of. I predict that this TWAB is going to be, um, all of the is going to be more information of all of the exotics that are going to get catalysts, and all of the exotics that are going to get catalysts or exotic gear that's going to be getting changes. Um, because I think this will give more time for people to possibly get those exotics for to have them prepped for when Lightfall drops. Because some of those exotics are not easy to get.
yeah.
So,
Like I do want to know what they're gonna do with some of the exotics, because like it's about time that some of those older exotic catalysts started becoming easier to get or dropping in game.
yeah, and I'm gonna be honest, doing Legend Lost Sector solo is just such a pain in the ass for all of the newer exotics, and they don't even drop with good stats half the time, man.
Like this this season is was very hopeful since they actually had a mod in the artifact that's like here's a flat 10% damage buff for playing solo.
Yeah, I still need to unlock that. Once I get it unlocked, I'm probably gonna run every single Legend Lost Sector until I have all of the current pieces of exotic gear, and at least with semi decent rolls. Because thankfully, it still prioritizes the pieces that you don't own yet.
Yep.
So thank God. So I'm probably gonna spend the next week probably doing that.
Yeah, they're not too bad.
Yeah, because think I'm only missing 4 or 5 now.
The only ones that are annoying are anything with like overload champions,
Fuck
but
overloads.
other than that, it's not bad.
Yeah. So, with that being said, Danny, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch and YouTube under the same name. I actually, like, I think it was last week, I released a video on Lightfall hype and talking about some stuff.
Hell yeah. Please go watch Danny. You can also find me on Twitch and YouTube at the same name, Domini Fox. You can also find me on Twitter at DominiFox1. Mostly it is me telling people that, hey, I'm streaming and shit posting about anime. I've had some pretty hot takes recently. So, with that being said, thank you all so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I know that this episode was a doozy. This bitch was 2 hours long, Danny. Oh my god.
There's a lot to talk about.
And it's only gonna get worse from here. Fuck. So, with that being said, thank you all so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. We both hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Uh, and as always, don't be a sweat lord. We'll catch you guys next time.